Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to get to top dead center on a 2010 Toyota Camry SE with a 2.4 cylinder engine, and this is specifically without a compression gauge. As you can see here, it's with the rubber glove, but I'll explain a couple methods you could do if you don't have a rubber glove. What you'll need specifically for this job is a 22mm socket, a breaker bar or a socket wrench. A splash guard panel will be in front of the crankshaft. And right here it's not pictured with it, but there is one behind the wheel, and you remove the bolts with the 10mm socket. And a tip that I have is to attach extension bars to create a 2-foot or 3-foot bar, and then attach that bar to the breaker bar or socket wrench to create an L shape, and then use the tool to crank the crankshaft, as opposed to having just the socket connected to the breaker bar, because then it just creates a really awkward ankle that makes it very tiresome after having to crank it, multiple revolutions. This is an example of what it looks like, and it just, I don't know, just really helps. Definitely recommend it. So, the 2010 Toyota Camry is a 4-stroke engine, and I will go into detail into what a 4-stroke engine actually does, the mechanics behind it, in another video that I'll post shortly and soon after this one. But to get the timing correct, you want to make sure that you have the indentations, the timing marks with the yellow tabs in the correct place. There should be 2 yellow tabs, and there's one, as you can see there, and then that deep indentation is actually not a timing mark. That is a sprocket timing, or that is a sprocket mark to align the sprockets, not to time the timing chain. So the method that I used was a rubber glove, basically, and I attached it with a rubber band. There was some trial and error with this one, which you'll see in just a few seconds, but as I was making this video, I actually thought a balloon would probably work a lot better if you secured it well with like a rubber band or something that could secure it temporarily. But yeah, the rubber glove, you're able to see the engine go through the cylinder go through the different strokes as you turn the crankshaft, and the balloon, it'd be a lot easier to identify what stroke the cylinder is going through, because with the rubber glove it kind of doesn't have all the best section. It has adequate section, but not the best, and so it's kind of hard to tell if it's going to be expanding or contracting. So right here, I believe it's going to contract, which means that it is either in the intake stroke or the fire or ignition stroke. And again, I will go into detail on what that means specifically, but for getting to top dead center, what you want to know is you want to know when the compression stroke is, which is the stroke that goes after the intake stroke. And once you're in the compression stroke and you're basically at the top of the cylinder, the rod is at the top of the cylinder, then that's when you're at top dead center. So as you just saw, as it was going through the expanding stroke, or the one of the 2 strokes that expands, or basically what happens is that the pressure builds and it causes the air to come up in the only place that it can, and that's why it looks like the balloon or the rubber glove is expanding. That's why I call it the expanding stroke. That's not an actual term for it, but yeah, so as you saw, the stroke caused the rubber glove to fall out. That happened about 2 or 3 times. But finally, when I got it on correctly, there wasn't much that I did differently. I was just a little bit more careful, had a little bit more finesse with turning the crankshaft and, not being so harsh. By the way, I fast forwarded through this part, so it really was being very, very, very gentle, because I didn't want that to happen again. I was getting quite frustrated at that point. So it's just going through the strokes. And then the way to tell, a little cheat sheet, is when the two yellow tabs are both shown on the top of the timing chain assembly, in line with the sprocket timing marks, not the sprocket alignment marks, but the shallower ones. There will be one on each one, and when it's timed correctly at the top dead center, it will be just underneath the yellow tab marks. And then that should all be happening while you're in the compression stroke, which is the stroke where the rubber glove or balloon will be expanding. And again, this is for anyone who does not have a compression gauge, or like me, went to go rent one and then had it not work, and had to come up with a MacGyver way to do it. And I believe that is when I saw the marks. And as you can see, there are two yellow tabs, and that is the correct position. Actually, I remember I moved it a little bit more to the right, cranked it a little bit more. It should really be in like the 1 o'clock position on the right hand side, and then the 11 o'clock position on the left hand side. And as you can see, the shallower marks are underneath the tabs, and that is an indicator that you are at top dead center. Let's see if I thought about getting a close-up. Yeah, there. Now you can see it for sure. So yeah, thanks for watching, and good luck.